My name is Catherine David. I have the privilege of working in residential life. I'm also a Blake Hall alumna, lived here many, many moons ago, and I'm joined by my wonderful colleague.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Bill Matera. I'm the Director of Residential Life and Education here at LSU, and my team oversees the move-in process. And so we're excited to get to share what we're going to do this year with you.
We also have team members behind the scenes ready to answer your questions and let us know what y'all are saying online so that we can make sure that you get all your questions answered live. We have team members in our Zoom chat, so you are welcome to post a question in the Q&A in Zoom. And then we also have team members monitoring our Facebook Live, so you can certainly add questions to the comments on Facebook, and we'll make sure to get to them. So first, Bill and I are just going to kind of go through what we expect move-in to look like this year, and then we will go ahead and take your questions. So the first things first, right? When is move-in?
Yeah, so move-in day this year will be a 3-day weekend, starting on August 13th and ending on Sunday, August 15th. One of the things that we learned last year is a really smooth process, and so you'll see as we go through the operations today, the opportunity to sign up for your appointment time. You'll have the option to choose from Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You'll choose for your family which day works best for you. Folks who live in our apartments, you'll have access to those same move-in days of the 13th, 14th, and 15th, but we know some of you may not want to come till later, so you'll have the option to move in all the way through August 22nd before the first day of classes. So they'll stretch that whole time for those. Some of your apartments will begin on August 18th, and if that affects you, you'll kind of get your own direct communication along the way. When you selected your rooms before, you may have selected an apartment that had a note on it. Those notes will still apply, and you'll want to check that before you select your move-in time.
Great. So let's talk about where we are in the process now, leading up to move-in. So it is June 23rd. Can't believe it. It's already June 23rd. So most of our first-year students have selected their rooms. You're starting to get to know your roommates, and we are getting ready to close down room selection in the housing portal at the end of the month. July 1 and June 28th are kind of the next dates to mark on your calendar. So June 28th is when that move-in appointment scheduling software is going to go live, and we will show you a demo of that today. And then July 1 is another big date. That is the day you can sign up for Waitlist for the residence halls. If you didn't get your first choice of building, maybe you can sign up on the waitlist July 1 at 1 o'clock and indicate your preferred buildings and preferred room styles. So if you and your roommate are interested in moving buildings, make sure that you both sign up on that wait list so you can be contacted by our assignments team and offered space to move into if it becomes available over the summer. So that's where we are right now. Also, last year we got a great question actually during Move-In Live about bed lofting, and if you could request it ahead of time. And because of that great suggestion last year, we were able to have that happen, and we're able to continue it this year, thanks to our wonderful facilities and custodial staffs. So the bed lofting request form will also go live July 1. It'll all be on our Move-In Day webpage, which is lsu.edu/move-in-day. And of course, all of this information will be emailed out to our students as well. But those are some of the next big dates to think about as you look ahead.
So let's talk about selecting those arrival times and getting yourself set up to move in. I saw some questions pop in the chat about when they'll be made available. So on June 28th at 1 p.m., our appointment software will open live for you to check those times. What we'll do is we'll add that to our website, so it'll pop up on that lsu.edu/move-in-day website. And you'll also receive an email to the email address you've been using for communications thus far with a clickable link. When you get on there, you'll be able to adjust your appointment time as however you want through July 31st, as long as appointment times are still available for the date and time that you're looking for. We've worked through it to make sure the flow of the building is able to space things out. One of the things that's really important on move-in day is everybody not showing up at the same time. You're all familiar with campus, you've seen it, and you know that our roads and spaces can be a little tight to navigate. And so these move-in times are designed to kind of maximize the flow into the building. And so there's limited capacity in those times. If you and your roommate want to sign up for the same move-in time, you want to arrive together, you'll need to make sure that you log in and do that at the same time. So each roommate will need to schedule their own move-in time and hop that in there. Friday, August 13th is actually considered an early arrival date, because our housing contracts begin on August 14th, Saturday, August 14th. So we know in the past, a lot of folks have wanted that opportunity to come a little early and beat the crowd. And so a smaller number of appointments are available on Friday for a $100 early arrival fee. If you don't want to pay that fee, you can come on Saturday and Sunday and we'll see the same service and opportunity. But we know for some families, having the whole weekend is something you'd be interested in. And so we've only offered that in the past, some of our partner departments, and this year we're offering it that same opportunity to all of our students who are interested in doing it. So when you log in, you're gonna see there's a time slot for each day. They're gonna be 90-minute windows that you'll have to move in. If you moved in with us last year, you know that 90 minutes was the time to complete your move. This year, that 90 minutes is the time to get from this move-in area to your room and unload your car and have it out of the move-in area. At this time, we're feeling good about COVID restrictions and the ability for you to stay and set up. But it's really important that you be prepared to get yourself from the staging area and everything out of your car and out of the way for the next group of folks. The most important thing for you to have when you log in is your ideal time, maybe a couple backups, right? Most of you are going to want 8 o'clock on Saturday.
Yeah.
And so prepared to think about leveling a little bit later in the day, what time's your hotel checkout. If you're traveling from, say, Shreveport and you're a 4-hour drive, choosing those afternoon slots can be really advantageous for you to know that when you get here, you're going to be ready to go. There's going to be 2 things that are going to be really important for you to have when you get to that website. One, the building you're living in, right? That's a really common thing. The appointments are by building, and so you'll need to make sure you have that information ready for you, and your pause ID. So that's the beginning of your LSU email address, and that's how we're going to make sure you put yourself in the right building and you're getting where you need to go. And so it's really important that when you get to that link on the 28th at 1 p.m., that you're ready to enter those 2 pieces of information for us.
Yeah, let's take a look at it. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so we can walk through what that appointment software looks like. Okay. So let me close this so you guys can see a little bit better. So this is what the appointment software looks like. So you can see it has some notes in there for first-year students and for our apartment residents. So you'll just go ahead and click Let's Get Started. And you'll see the buildings populate. And this is what Bill mentioned, that it's really important that you guys know which building you're living in. Let's say I'm gonna live in Cedar Hall, so I'm gonna select Cedar. And then these are the move-in option times that are still available for Cedar Hall. So again, that Friday is an early arrival date. Any student who selects a time on Friday will be charged that $100 early arrival fee. Saturday and Sunday options are available as well. For apartments, again, Bill mentioned that apartments have a little bit longer of a move-in time since they don't have to be for welcome week like our first-year students. So you'll have some more options if you are an apartment resident. So let's just say I pick Sunday at 8 a.m. So you can see this is where you come and fill in your information. And there's that pause ID that Bill talked about. That's really important to have. And here's a little reminder that it's the beginning of your LSU email address, the part right before the @ symbol. And that's really important that you guys put that in there so we can make sure you get to the right spot. And you can hit finalize appointment and you're good to go. Go ahead.
So a couple things to remember, right? You're going to get a confirmation email once you sign up, right? So we want to make sure you have that information that will tell you exactly what your time that you've confirmed it. Through July 31st, if you change room assignments, Catherine mentioned the waitlist for you earlier. If you switch room assignments, you need to go in and switch appointment times, right? And so that will be how we kind of move things along the way there for you. And you can do that all the way through July 31st. After July 31st, you're going to need to contact our staff if you need to change your appointment time. One thing to also remember, I know everybody wants to think about Saturday, but again, traffic flow can be a challenge on campus. And so the move-in slots are equally divided across those days. And so it is important to think about Sunday as an option for you. If that's a preference for you, going ahead and picking that ahead of time, because that Saturday day will fill up. And so don't be surprised if you get there and Saturday's full and you need to hop over to Sunday for the times that you prefer.
Yeah. Great. So that's how you get your appointment arrival time. And so then you just sit tight until your arrival, until it's time for your arrival on campus. So you actually arrive to the move-in staging area. And for any of our families who participated in this last year, it'll work very much the same as far as that staging area. You will receive your hang tag in email this year, not in your physical mailbox. So around August 6th or August 7th, we will email your arrival hang tags to your LSU email address. So whatever time you select to arrive on campus, that information will be on this hang tag and then a barcode on your hang tag. And we ask that you print 2 of those and put those in your car on the rear view mirror facing out. And that's how we know you're allowed to come into the staging area at that date and time. Again, we're still limiting it to 2 cars per student. And you will, if you have a 3rd car, you'll be asked to reroute that car and come pick it up at a later time. So that the hang tags are very important for you to go ahead and print. If you don't have a printer, don't worry, just let us know. And we'll have all those instructions to you guys by email. So you'll come in, you'll pull right up to the welcome tents where our staff is there to greet you. If you bring a large truck or a box truck or a trailer of any sort, make sure that you go to the far right-hand lane. We want to make sure that you guys are able to make the turns in the lot. So we're going to direct you to the far right-hand lane. And keep in mind that if you do bring a trailer or a large truck, that can count as 2 cars in our makeup. So just know that we'll be limiting that as well to make sure that everyone has enough time to unload their belongings.
One of the things that's really important for you to think about this 2-car thing along the way, right, is to remember that that's what we can accommodate at the buildings to get everyone moved in a timely manner. If you want to bring grandma and grandpa and aunt and uncle in a 3rd car, what we're going to ask you to do is go straight to a parking lot and have them walk and meet you at the front of the building, right? The 2 cars only should be built cars that have stuff in them.
Yeah.
So if your Tiger or other folks don't have any stuff in their car, they can go park and meet you at the community. All that should come to that staging lot is cars that have stuff that need to move in and pull up next to the building. We want to really be able to maximize everyone's time. As Catherine mentioned, if you went through this process last year, we really got this down to a pretty good time, and we're able to get everybody through that space very quickly. And that's helpful if you think about that when you think about the cars that you bring and the number of folks that you send to that staging area. The other thing to think about is really sticking to those arrival times. We know that like some dads out there, you might really want to map the lot and see it ahead of time, but we've built all of this based on capacity issues and to make this as smooth as possible. So we'll ask that you arrive to that staging area no more than 15 minutes before the start of your time. So if you have an 8 o'clock time, 7:45 is when we're going to start lining folks up in that lot. You'll see in this, I think we're going to show you a video a little bit of what it looks like to drive that space.
Yeah, I can start that.
And what it's really important to think about is we want to give you enough time to get lined up to dispatch you to your building at 8 o'clock. And so just really thinking about the ways that you get there and when you get there can be really helpful.
What about people helping?
So at the area, everyone has to start at the staging area. And so one of the things we'll do there is provide you with a wristband for access to the building. Move-in day is one of those times where our community is pretty wide open. And so we're going to provide wristbands to everyone that's helping you move in. So last year there was a 2-person limit. There won't be this year. So if you have grandma and grandpa, you'll just need to know we need 7 wristbands, we need 8 wristbands, whatever it is. That lets our in-hall staff know that you're there with someone and you belong there, right? So it allows us to maintain that safety and security and know who's in our building and that they're attached to one of our residential students and not kind of wander in the building. So we'll pause here really quick and let Catherine show you the video of what it's going to look like when you arrive in that staging area.
So this is a car arriving at the staging area. You will pull up into various lanes. This year will be, I'm so excited. We're gonna have these amazing tents, amazing signage. It's gonna be such a fun environment. So you'll be able to clearly see which lanes to go to. You'll also see that our staff, once we see you coming, will be fighting for your attention. We have a little contest to see who can get the most people in their lane. So you see our staff here kind of jumping and trying to get your attention to get you to come to their lane. So pick who you want to win and you'll drive straight up to the welcome tents. Who wins this time? Does Ray win? No? All right, so you come here, you're at the tent. This is where we exchange your hang tag for your building specific hang tag. So you will give us your arrival time hang tag that we email to you, and we will give you your tag that says, if you're going to Miller, it'll say Miller. And this is how we direct you. You see here, we're saying, okay, head this way, and now keep on going. So you have 2 areas where we'll hold you by your building, and we won't release you from these areas until there is a spot for you to unload your belongings at your building, right? So you can see some cars lined up here in that in that slot, and so they're just patiently waiting until there's a spot for them at the building. And so we'll get notified that, hey, we can take 6 cars at Miller, and so then we'll release those 6 cars. So we have this front lane of spots for our buildings. And if you are not in that front lane, then you're going to head right on up to the front parking area and find your lane there. So again, we'll have much clearer signage, so you'll know that what to do. That's one of our poor tents that didn't make it through the wind event last year. So if you're on the front holding area, you'll come here. We'll have large, huge 17-foot flags. You won't be able to miss your lane, and you turn before the flag, right? So if you're at Miller, you're going to turn before the flag. So so you end up in the correct lane.
So then once you get through that process, our volunteers are going to dispatch you to that building at the front, right? And what Catherine said, our goal is to get you directly up next to your building to be able to move in. We know that moving in those spaces will be easier the closer you get to the building. We're going to have bins for you there, so you can unload there. There will not be any volunteers, but we'll have a bin for you where you can unload your stuff, get it up to your building, and get that car moved. This holding area is really designed to kind of get you to that space. Catherine mentioned we'll switch out your hang tag to be a building-specific hang tag. As you drive through campus to get to your buildings, you'll see LSU PD and our parking and transportation services friends getting you directly to that spot. So those hang tags that they switch out are the way they know where to direct you. So our goal is to eliminate all that stop and ask questions. They're going to see your green Blake tag or whatever tag it is that you have and know exactly where to direct you. One of the things that's really important to remember is while LSU is slower on the weekends, it's still an open campus. And so the system is really designed to be the cleanest and safest way to get you to where you need to go. And so we really ask that you go to the staging area and follow the directions and the routes on your way there and don't kind of invent your own. You won't be able to pull up next to your building to unload if you don't have one of those hang tags. And so it's really important to kind of make sure you're moving through that process there as well.
Yeah. Talking about routes to the building, I'm gonna share my screen again and let you guys see.
While Catherine's pulling this up for you, a little bit about how we've designed these routes and why it's important to follow them. We've worked with parking and transportation and LSU PD to build some unique routes to areas of campus, right? The goal is for you not to be kind of climbing over each other. So as you come on move-in day, you may be taking a route to a building that you think is a little weird. That's on purpose, right? When we separate buildings out and allow you to move around a little bit, it really gives us the opportunity to make sure you're not going on top of each other.
So one of the things that we'll offer this year is a move-in map. So if you want to see those routes ahead of time, I know a lot of families just wanted to know, what to look for. Okay, if I turn left on Tower Drive, where is that? So we were going to provide these ahead of time on the LSU campus map. There's a new section in there for move-in day where you'll be able to isolate your route from the staging area to your building. Again, so you'll be able to come here. This is a Acadian Hall example. So it's a reminder that you need to go to the staging area first. And then these are the step-by-step instructions that you'll follow to get to your building. Now, again, we will have LSU PD and LSU parking and transportation friends along the way to guide you to make sure you're on the right route. And we'll also have signage along the way too. So even if you don't look at this map at all, you will be able to get to your building very easily.
It's a really important thing that the staging lot is located on River Road. And so if you're familiar with the LSU Vet School is, that's the space where everyone's going to start move-in day. So apartment friends, if you move in on the 13th, 14th, or 15th, this is also where you start your move-in day. So if you move in the other days, you go straight to your building, but on those weekend days, we'll ask everyone to start right here at this location. And so then you'll follow that route, you'll get to your building. And we want to talk a little bit about unloading when you get to your building. So one of the things to think about is the amount of time you take up in that space is what's preventing others to get there. So you pull up to the building, we'll ask you to unload pretty quickly. The other thing to think about is when you put folks in cars, we're going to ask that once that car is empty of stuff, someone either stay with it or immediately move it. So if mom, dad, and student are in one car and dad and student are unloading, we're going to ask mom to move that car and walk back and to make sure someone stays with that car so we can keep that turnover going. One of the things I will promise you for moving day, and there are very few things I'll promise you, is that is the one thing everyone can do to make this move faster. If you stay with your car and you move them out of unloading zone as quick as you can, you'll make the people behind you process much quicker. And so this is really, you're moving in your Tiger and we're going to help you do that. But if we think about this as everybody getting in together, it goes much, much smoother. So the times are all day until 6 p.m. So if you leave at noon to say make a Target run, understand that you're not going to be able to pull back up to that building, right? So all the way through 6, we have slotted time slots with enough spaces in front of the building. And so timing those runs either after 6 to 6:30 p.m. both days, or kind of buying only enough stuff to walk kind of closely from at those parking areas is also really important to consider. We're then going to ask you, once you unloaded, all of our parking on campus on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, those parking rules are suspended and the gates are up. And you can move your car to the closest lot not attached to a residence hall building. And so we'll ask you to move your car there, kind of move it out of the way, walk back, and start the process of unpacking and decorating and doing all those fun things. I think the only other thing to say is that we're going to, like I said, we're going to give you a numbered move-in bin when you get there to get your stuff kind of up. One of our staff members will assign that to you and ask you to bring it back down. But it's really important that you label your boxes, right? And to make sure that before you pack, you write your last name, Mike the Tiger, Acadian 403 on there. That way, if a box gets left in the parking lot, our staff can get it to you and make sure we know where to go. Or if, say, a roommate or someone helps you, it gets put in the wrong space, we can help you figure out where that goes.
Yeah. You know, a big part of moving in is getting your Tiger Card programmed, because a lot of you, well, all of you actually, we use your Tiger Card as the first level of security to access your residence hall. So you swipe into your residence hall, and then you either swipe in or key in to your living areas, and then you either swipe in with a 4-digit PIN or key into your actual sleeping space. So we want to make sure that you all know the really important deadline of July 20th to upload your photo for your Tiger Card. So if you upload your photo by July 20th, the Tiger Card office will mail your Tiger Card to you. And this will help with the move-in process so much, because that way you have your Tiger Card with you, your LSU ID. So when the student walks into the lobby to check in, our team can code that card for them, and they're ready to go. If you aren't able to upload that photo for your Tiger Card before July 20th, then you will have to, they won't be able to mail it to you. You'll have to go to the Tiger Card office in the student union and pick it up yourself. And so if that happens, if you don't have your Tiger Card before you check in, then we would just have to issue a temp card. And it's just one more step in the process for you to then have to get a temp card, get your ID, and then have your ID recoded. So we really want to encourage you, if at all possible, go ahead and upload that photo so you can have your Tiger Card mailed to you. All the instructions are on our Move-in-Day website and also on the Tiger Card website as well. And we will include those details and instructions and emails to our students as well.
Once you get into the building, you have your Tiger Card, and you're all set to go. You're going to walk in and you're going to be sent to a check-in area. That area is really just for your Tiger. So mom and dad, you can start unloading those cars and getting things ready to go. Your Tiger can go on in and get themselves checked into their room. You know, that Tiger Card Catherine mentioned, once you go through that check-in process, we'll start to work on your room as well as the swipe doors in the building. Our check-in system automates that for you to kind of get that up and running. And so you'll go in there, you'll move through a couple stations with our resident assistant staff who'll be excited to see you and kind of get you the lay of the land in the building. And then they'll send you to your room to start unloading. And so your check-in process for your Tiger is really just a 10 to 15-minute process to go through, stop at a couple stations and get their key. And so that'll be really important. That's where you start, right? If you go to the room before you go there, that Tiger Card won't work and you won't have a key. So make sure as soon as you get out of the car, you send your Tiger on over to get checked in and you can kind of come back from there. Yeah. The next thing to talk a little about is Welcome Week, right? And so the reason we'll ask all first-year students to move by Sunday night is because Welcome Week programming will begin promptly on Monday morning. We encourage you to check out lsu.edu/Welcome Week for our first schedule of events. But our friends at Enrollment Management would like to remind you that is required for first-year students.
It is.
And there'll be a number of things for you to do. We'll start, if you're moving in on Friday or Saturday, there'll be some social events on both those evenings for Tigers to start to get connected and meet folks. But the formal programming will really start Sunday night with the RHA block party. And so we'll encourage you to be checked in and settled to go for there to get to that program and kind of make your way through. And I'm sure Enrollment Management will give you plenty more information in the coming weeks about Welcome Week.
And I know I can speak for us and then probably Enrollment Management and most of campus that we are so excited for Welcome Week to have our students back here on campus, safely at events, doing traditional, Welcome Week and move-in things that we missed some last year. And so we are so excited for that Welcome Week. It's a really exciting schedule. And I know Enrollment Management will provide that to you soon, but I know I'll be at a bunch of the events because it'll be a fun time. We are getting some questions about, 90-minute windows. And so we'll keep sending those questions in, okay, guys? Because we are actively answering those in the Q&A and on the Facebook live stream in the comments. And then our team is going to tell us which questions we need to address live on air. A couple of quick facts about move-in, things that would help make it go easier, are trash and recycle breakdown. So near all of the residence halls and apartments will be these huge recycling dumpsters. And it's so helpful if you break down your boxes and bring that trash and recycling material downstairs to the dumpster. It really makes a tough environment when the hallways get piled up with boxes, and it's a safety hazard for folks who can trip on it. So we want to make sure that you are doing your part as part of the community to, if you unpack that shelving unit you have in your room, that you bring that box down to the recycle dumpster and make sure that you break it down nice and flat so we can fit as much recycling material in there as possible. Another thing, we keep getting a lot of questions about things that out-of-state students can do to make this process a little easier. And one thing that we always talk about is our micro fridge rental service. So we partner with a vendor, University and Student Services, and you can rent it's kind of like a 3-part unit. It's a mini fridge, and then it has a power strip with lots of plugs, and then a microwave on top. As long as you do it, as long as you rent it by August 1, it'll be in your room when you arrive. You use it all year, and then when you're ready to move out, you can just leave it there and the vendor will come pick it up. So that's a really nice and convenient service. It'll be linked on our website shortly. And also it sold out last year. So if you are interested in that, make sure that you get on it early. We have a lot of questions about shipping and mailboxes, and we're still working with our friends at the UPS store to figure out if we can ship items ahead of time. So if you are not able to ship items directly to the campus UPS store, a lot of our friends have found solutions like shipping directly to, let's say, a Walmart or Target or Bed Bath & Beyond, and then going and picking it up and bringing it to campus.
And they kind of sit down with Catherine's thing a little bit about these, making it easier for out-of-state students, right? One of the things you may want to consider is choosing a later move-in time. If you're an out-of-state student, a lot of times you like to run to Target or Walmart here in town. You may want to choose an afternoon move-in slot, run those errands in the morning so you can make one trip to the building. And so if you're going to do some of those delivery things, store pickups like Catherine mentioned, you may want to choose that 2 o'clock moving time. Give yourself the morning to get lunch, get settled, and then come to campus just one time, because that'll make it easier for you to not fight Baton Rouge traffic or things that you're unfamiliar with. The other thing about when it comes to eating is that our dining halls will open starting on Saturday. And so if you are, really excited to walk down to some of our local restaurants, that's a great option. If you're looking for something quick and easy, though, dining will be open. The family can go in there, share that experience with your tiger, and feel what it feels like to eat in one of the dining halls. And they'll be open for both lunch and dinner both days. And so you'll be able to kind of pop in there and grab food, eat right here on campus. And so what we really hope is, there's a strong desire to kind of bounce on and off campus, but really you can spend all of move-in day on campus and feel just what it feels like for your student to be here for a day and kind of move those experiences along. And then maybe head out into town for dinner when traffic will be a little easier coming back to campus.
Yeah, that's true. That's the worst thing with move in early, leave campus to get lunch or to get the last minute things, try to come back to campus when we're still in that move in traffic pattern, and you get stuck, because you won't have your hang tags to access the staging area or to get back in line to go to the front of the building. So we want to avoid that for our families and try to schedule out those outings and events, and if you're able to walk around campus, there's a lot to do here, especially over the Nicholson Gateway area. There's a wonderful restaurants there, retail locations, grocery store. You want to go stock up on those last minute couple of things. So that's a good resource too that is easily accessible on campus. We are wrapping up. One thing I have a star here. We get a lot of emails about mounting TVs in the rooms, and that's not allowed. So that kind of brings us to what is allowed in the rooms, and what you should pack and what you should not pack. So yes, absolutely, you're welcome to bring a TV. Cable is included in your rent, as is wireless and wired internet. So we recommend that you definitely bring a coaxial cord for your TV, and then also an Ethernet cable for you, so you can wire into the internet if you're having trouble with the wireless at all. The Living on Campus handbook is available on our website, and that handbook really lays out every policy that we have for residents. We have a really easy to digest appliance section. It's like what to bring, what not to bring. Let's see, the most popular things we get. What do you think? Coffee maker. You can have a coffee maker, you can have a Keurig, Mr. Coffee, but it has to have an automatic shut off.
Right.
That's a big one. What else do we get a lot of?
We talk a lot about mounting and how we hang things to walls, right? And you'll see in our book that there is like the ability to hang things with push pins. So our buildings that are drywall buildings will have the ability to do that. And then in our other buildings, we'll get some guidance in there on how to hang stuff.
Yeah.
One of the things that's also popular is an air fryer, which is not allowed.
I know. That's been real popular recently.
Yeah. And so, our buildings do have kitchen spaces that you can use. And so most appliances you'll find on that list are designated as being only able to use in those kitchen spaces. And so check that list, and things that are on there are really for designated to be used in those kitchen spaces in all the buildings.
Yeah, great. Okay. All right, behind the scene teams, let us know what questions are we needing to answer. Here's one about the 90-minute window.
Yeah, so that 90-minute window is the time in which you're going to get from that staging lot to the building. So what we're really asking is that you pack light enough and reasonable enough that in that 90-minute window, if you have an 8 o'clock move-in time, you might not get to your building until 8:30 or 8:45, right? And so in that 90 minutes before that next 9:30 group, all we're asking you to do is have your car unloaded and out of that staging area, right? And so if it's easier for you to unload it on the sidewalk and move through that a little slower, that's all right. That 90 minutes is for you to go to the staging area, hang out there, get sent to your building, and fully unload your cars. Because we're optimistic about COVID restrictions at this point, and we're still working through what that will look like as the fall reopening plan is developed. We are not monitoring the number of folks in the building this year. And so those 2 cars are the only limits we're applying. So 2 cars, whatever people fit in there, other cars need to park elsewhere. But that 90 minutes is your unloading time, not your unpacking time. So it's a big difference from last year where it was 2 hours to unload and unpack. This year, that 90 minutes is just your unloading time. And again, like I said earlier, really our hope is most of you will get to the building, and this is most parents say it takes 2 to 3 hours to load the car and like 9 minutes to unload it, right? And so that's exactly what we want. We want you to pull up, quickly unload, get that stuff up, and then move that car out of there so folks can come behind you. Our buildings, in terms of elevators and stairs and traffic inside, are fine for you to be there, but that 90 minutes is really just best called your unloading time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, what about are they able to stay and keep setting up their room and come and go? That was a change last year with COVID restrictions. Can parents come, if parents, let's say, stay at a hotel overnight if they're from out of town, can they come back the next day?
Yeah, as of now, we are not planning any guest restrictions for the fall. We know that move-in day is, well, it's, as Catherine said, it's our favorite day of the year. A lot of the LSU campus loves this day. It's the day you guys come home for the first time. We get to feel how excited you are to be here. We also know that moms and dads really like that process of putting together the furniture and setting up the room. And so we're glad to be able to go back to a more normal experience this year where you can participate in that process. What we will ask is if you come back on the next day, say you move in on Friday, want to come on Saturday, that you park that car far away from the building and that you won't be able to drive up to the building, right? We really need to keep those lanes and spaces close to the building clear for Saturdays and Sundays move-in. But if you want to park in one of our outer lots and walk or take the bus or kind of move your way into the building, we're glad to have you. We know this is really exciting. A lot of you have been planning for this for 18 years. Some of you are going to be sad and some of you are going to be happy, and there'll be a mix of emotions. But really making sure that you consider the way that you cannot get back to the building. And so if you buy stuff at the store, enough to carry from a parking lot, not that you'd have to drive up and unload.
Yeah. So we're getting some questions about move-in times. So let's run through that really quickly again. And then I'm seeing a bunch of questions about bed lofting. So we'll move to that next. So as far as move-in times go, so every student has to select their own move-in time, right? So if you and your roommate want to move in together Friday at noon, you both need to select that time. One person does not give access to both roommates or the entire apartment. So make sure that all the Tigers out there are selecting that move-in time. Along those same lines, let's see.
Something to consider there, and just to help you understand why, right? Like if 4 cars show up for 2 folks at a move-in time, you've kind of broken the system a little bit, right? And so really, like Catherine said, we've designed the building in terms of how many cars can we get through in that 90-minute spot to unload. And so the reason we can't let you have one student for both in the room is that is not by design what the building's can hold. I think it's important just to kind of help you understand. We've measured the front of the building, how many cars can fit in there based on average length. We use a little bit bigger average length because of a lot of pickup trucks and things that come through. And so we really spent a lot of time measuring this to make it seamless and easy for everybody. And so it's really important that you kind of pick those times as you move through and kind of connect there along the way and make sure it's going. In terms of times, we'll start at 8 o'clock in the morning and there'll be 6 shifts a day. On Saturday and Sunday, we'll start at 8 o'clock in the morning and there'll be 6 shifts a day every 90 minutes. So the first one will be at 8 o'clock and the last one will be at 4:30. On Friday, we are only offering a half-day option, right? So again, that's a partial move-in day. That's sort of a pay to kind of join that day. And your move-in times will start at noon with 4 blocks ending at 4 o'clock that day. And it's 4:30 that day. And so you'll see kind of on here, the way this will look for you. There's 4 slots on Friday. It's like there's 7 slots on Saturday and Sunday for you to kind of come in and choose those times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we had some questions to walk through that appointment software again. And so that's what's shared on the screen right now. So in this example, if I live at Blake Hall and I want to move in Sunday afternoon at 3:30, I simply select it and fill in my information. Yes, you can change your appointment time. You can change it as many times as you want through July 31st. After that, you'll have to ask us for a little bit of help. And see, and then, a question about if your room changes. Yes, if your room changes, then we'll work with you to select a new move-in time. Because again, this is based by capacity at the buildings, what we can manage with the cars and unloading and the number of move-in bins that we have. So we will make sure that we work with you on that. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen now so you can come back to us. Let's talk about bed lofting. So some of our facilities, some of our buildings have loftable beds, which I don't know if you can see it behind. Yeah, you can. Like the bed behind me, Vanna, where you can loft it to its highest point and put your desk and chest of drawers beneath it. And so this year we are offering students the opportunity to request their bed be lofted prior to move-in. So that way when you arrive, you can go ahead and put your linens on, get set, and you're not waiting for our team to come and loft it for you. We prefer that our team lofts it for you. So if you get to campus and you didn't have a chance to request it before you moved in, or you get here and you find that it's not to the height that you would like, you just go to your front desk. It'll be staffed there with a desk assistant and ask them to put in a work order to adjust your bed height. And then our team will be kind of running around on all those move-in days to help you with that.
One thing to remember though, that we cannot, the reason we're asking you this ahead of time is if you request it on move-in day, our custodial and maintenance staff will be doing a ton of things that day.
Yeah.
And so you'll have to know that if you request it in the day out, we will absolutely get to you. It may be Monday or Tuesday or a little bit later. And so if you know that you want to kind of loft your bed or are interested in that, please go ahead and do that as soon as you can so that we can go on there and get that done ahead of time, because there will be a way, and I think our facilities friends would be mad at me if I didn't share that with you, that we'll do our best on move-in day.
Right.
But it's a very, very hectic time for us.
Yeah. And so the move-in lofting option, request will go live July 1 and it will close August 6. So you have a long time to think about it. But it'll simply be a form just like this that you see here. And then these will be your loft options. So, oops, let me see. Okay. There we go. Sorry guys, I picked the wrong option. You'd think we'd be like Zoom pros by now, but I still make a mistake every now and then. So these are your loft options when you fill out that preference form. So you can see it'll be A, B, C, or D, and there's information on here about what can fit under the bed. A is the highest point where your desk can fit underneath. B is about 45.5 inches from the ground where your dresser can fit, and then you can have a little bit of storage space still. C is where the dresser fits and nothing else can probably fit between the dresser and the mattress. And then D is all the way at the lowest point where you can fit storage tubs underneath the bed, but not the dresser or any of the furniture. So these will be the loft options that you can request before move-in day. Okay, what other questions do we have, team? Let's see. Let's see.
Great. So if you are on that list for band, cheer, any of those things, your partner group will provide that for us. Before the 13th, it is only by approval of a group, right? So contacting us will not get you on that list. We'll only operate from those groups that are sent ahead of time, right? So for band, there's a select number of folks that need to be here. Otherwise, you can select the 13th time. If for some reason, if you're not on that earlier list and you need to work through band or cheer or athletics, they'll kind of give you the contact information to the contact to work with us. We feel very confident with the number of slots available on Friday that you'll be able to get into those lists as well. And so go ahead and think about that. But if you're not on those lists for early groups, we operate simply based on those groups sending us lists. So it's really important to remember that those early arrivals are only in a partner group. So if that group does not have an agreement with us to move in earlier, you would not be able to request an early move-in time. That's part of why we offer this Friday option for folks. We know that some people just want an extra day to get settled in. And so what we've done this year is offered that to everybody open as an opportunity for that extra additional move-in fee. But if you need a day earlier than the 13th, that would need to be submitted by the group you're working with, not by you directly.
Great. Back to the lofted beds. So it's not available now. It'll go live July 1, and all of these links will be at lsu.edu/move-in-day. If you ever have any questions about move-in day, that is going to be your go-to resource. As soon as we have information, that's where we put it. So again, lsu.edu/move-in-day. Masks. So we're getting some questions about masks. So it just depends on what the COVID protocols are come August. You know, right now, while the state has lifted the mask mandate on campus, we still are required to wear masks when we're indoors and unable to be socially distant physically distanced from folks. So masks may be required at move-in, we just don't know right now. But again, that'll be communicated to you in August once we have a more clear picture of what it'll look like on campus then. Let's see. Oh, talking about bedding packages and mail. So parents and students, you'll get some offers in the mail this summer from our student organization. So do you want to talk about Residence Hall Association for a minute?
So the Residence Hall Association is sort of the equivalent of a student government for residence halls. They're all elected students. Your students will all have the opportunity to run through their halls, serve as senators, and they sort of serve as the primary voice of the students that they will speak directly to both myself and our executive director about concerns, challenges, positives. They also put on a significant number of programming and opportunities for students to meet each other. So RHA is a really incredible leadership opportunity that is able to sort of engage with students and move through there. The bedding package Catherine was talking about, that if you order that, is a fundraising opportunity for that organization to provide opportunities for your students. So we partner with a company who offers a good deal on some bedding packages in line with the sizes of bedding that we offer on campus. And RHA works with them to sort of move those processes along.
Yeah. So when you get those mailers this summer that will offer bedding packages and also care packages that can be sent to your students throughout the year, those are fundraisers for Residence Hall Association. And so by supporting those fundraisers, you are in turn supporting programming for your student planned by students. So one of the questions we got was, where can that be shipped? And all the bedding is shipped to your home address. So nothing can be shipped to the residence halls or apartments on campus before move-in. Again, we're working with our friends at UPS to see if you'll be able to ship things to the UPS store here on campus prior to move-in. We just don't have that answer yet, but please don't try to ship anything to the residence halls, because it'll just sit outside the door unless one of our team members happens to see it and grab it. So make sure if you order that bedding, you know that it does ship straight to your home. Let's see, which one? All right. A couple people have asked, if you're arriving by walking rather than by car, is there a different move-in process? We had a couple of friends last year. I had a wonderful friend who came, I think, straight from Canada, and his Uber dropped him off at the staging area, and we were able to load him up on the golf cart and get him to his building. So however you arrive to us, we're gonna make sure that you get to your building. So just make sure that you, go ahead.
Yeah, so if your tiger, I think also part of this question is, if your tiger's gonna park their car and you're gonna go to the staging area, they can park and walk up to the building and go through that normal check-in process, right? So the move-in process will be the same.
Yeah.
For them, they'll check in the exact same way. The staff will be ready to greet them. So Catherine's right. If you have an Uber or other things, you know, if you're coming from far away and you've got your suitcase, you can start at the staging area and we'll take care of kind of getting you where you need to go. If you're gonna park your car and walk to your building, once you get to the building, everything will be exactly the same for you.
Yeah, yeah. At the staging area, there'll be a large white tent that's kind of, we call it our move-in day HQ, and that's where like Bill and I will be stationed, and the rest of our move-in crew. And so if you have any questions, or if you arrive outside of your arrival time, our friends at parking will send you down that move-in day help lane, and that's where our headquarters are, and we'll be able to assist you with that. So yeah, don't worry. Tigers come to us all different ways, and we're going to make sure you get there and get settled in. So I know one thing that we're really excited about this summer that we couldn't do last summer is in-person tours. Our student staff is excited to be able to offer tours of the residence halls this summer. And if you aren't able to come, we also offer these fantastic new virtual tours online. So every hall on its webpage has like kind of like a Google Map 360 immersive virtual tour where you can put yourself in the room and walk around. And there's also this wonderful measurement tool. So if you need to know the exact width of the window to hang your curtains on your tension rod, you can measure that from, you know, your couch at home without having to come to campus. But our tour schedule is available at lsu.edu/housing tours. We are only offering certain buildings on certain days. So make sure that you go there and look at the schedule to make sure that you come on a day when we're showing the building that you want to see. So I would hate for you to come to see Blake and we don't have enough staff to show Blake that day. We'll certainly try to show you something comparable, but we want to make sure that you have as best experience as possible. So again, housing tours will be through July 30th. So they will close at the end of July. And again, that website is lsu.edu/housing tours. So let's go back. Okay. What else are we seeing? Dining. Oh, Bingle Bound Orientation Lives. So yeah, we do have some events on campus this summer. Bingle Bound Orientation Live is not a mandatory orientation event, but it's a supplemental in-person event that our friends in enrollment management are offering. And if you do attend one of those on-campus events, the buildings open to tour that day are Evangeline Hall, East and West LaVille Halls, Acadian Hall, Cedar Hall, and West Hall. So those are the buildings that we offer on those orientation live days on campus. Let's see, what else? What happens if you miss your time on move-in day?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, our windows are set in there, and we'll ask is that once we get closer to moving day, we'll give you some contact for those folks in the hall. We'll do our best to accommodate you in later time shifts. So say you're signed up for the 12:30 shift and you missed that and you show up at 2:30. We're gonna ask you to sit in what we call a little holding area. And if your building is moving at a good clip and we can get you in there, we will. We'll get you moved in the same day. It's just gonna be a longer wait for you, right? During that 90-minute window, we know we can get you in and to your building there and not affect the next group. So we will have some, when we get to the staging area, you'll see there's an area to the side where we'll put people and kind of set them in there. And we'll get you into your building, right? So if you missed that 2:30 time, you're gonna hang for a little bit, but we'll get you moved in on your day as quick as we can without disrupting the way the flow's going.
Yeah, let's see. So about making your room feel like home. So we're getting some questions about decorations and push pins and command strips and all those things. So let's run through some of the most common. What'd you say? Yeah, it is. Let's see. So I'm gonna just share my screen, and what I am looking at is the Living on Campus handbook on our website.
One of the things, and we'll publish our new one early July for you to kind of understand what the rules and directions is. But the Living on Campus handbook will actually tell you everything you need to live on campus. We have literally written down everything. And so it's really easy for you to kind of go to that website. It lives permanently on the web all year long. Once we publish the New Year's book, it'll stay there all year. And so you'll be able to kind of reference this as you go throughout the year and kind of personalize things moving forward.
Yeah. And now look, I am seeing that we might have misspoke earlier. Let's see. Items are allowed.
Oh, air fryers are allowed.
Look, air fryers are allowed in residence halls. Well, isn't this a great day? Congratulations, everybody.
Please note it says as long as they're properly
Cleaned and stored.
Which is a thing.
Which is a thing. That grease catches fire. Well, no, it's an air fryer. So, no.
Yeah. Just bugs.
Just bugs.
Yeah.
Bugs, smells.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, well there you go. Look, we learned something new from reading the Living on Campus handbook today. What do you know? So again, the handbook has information about smart devices, and then here are our decorations. So you can see we list out which buildings can use push pins, and those are the buildings that have those like sheetrock walls, right? If you use a product like a command strip on there, it will more than likely peel the paint. But then there are buildings like Miller that have, cinder block walls, and so you can't put a push pin in those walls. And so that's where we say you can use a product like a command strip. So these, again, the Living on Campus handbook, fantastic resource for you as you prepare your shopping lists of what to pack and what to leave at home. Another big one is lamps. Like we can't have any halogen lamps on campus, so leave those at Target. Can't have those. That's a big one. Yeah, let's see, what other questions are we getting?
So I see one comment a couple times. If you're an apartment friend, you on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday do have to use the staging area. On the other days, you will not have to. And so just thinking about that, if you choose to come on that Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we're moving first year students in, that traffic flow to the buildings is part of the way things are impacted. So you want to get to this quick and easy as possible. And so we'll ask you to come to the staging area on that initial move-in weekend. On the other days, you'll kind of make it there on your own.
Yeah. Also along the same lines for apartments, suggestions for moving items upstairs at ECA, WCA. Yes, East Campus apartments and West Campus apartments are 3 stories high, and our stairwells, exterior stairwells. So there are no elevators in East Campus and West Campus apartments. We recommend that you bring a hand truck or a dolly would be really helpful. And also just consider how much stuff you need in your apartment perhaps. Because you don't want to overpack and then bring it all in and end up not needing as much. Size of carts available for move-in.
That's a great question.
That is a great question. Last year we had one and we showed it. We will get those measurements for you so you can make sure that the items you pack fit in there. Sam, that would be a good post for us to get that. Great. So we'll get that done and post it on our social media and then link it on our Move-In Day webpage as well. Thank you for that question.
Getting a lot of questions about folks who are going to leave their car on campus after moving. You'll see any of those designated student lots. So one of the things we've been able to do in the last couple of years is really only take up those spaces right close to the building. There are a number of other resident and student parking spots that will be open for students to park at on Move-In Day. And so they can move their car to those spots, which will likely be where they'll park normally, kind of put it there for move-in weekend, and then on Monday, be able to move it to those closer lots to the building once we're done with the move-in process. On Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, though, all of those lots will be closed, right? So even if you move through a move-in lot and you think to yourself, wow, this lot looks super open, I should park here, those are places that are at risk for towing or moving out of there, because we need to keep those spaces open for the, from Friday residents, so Saturday residents can move in and Sunday residents can move in. I know I've said it a couple times, but moving really is a team sport. The more we do together, the better off we do. And so really thinking about when you park those cars, take that little walk on that moving day and kind of leave it there until Monday morning. And then we'll be fully back to normal. You can park in those spots closer to the building.
Yeah.
Great question, right? So once you move in that room, that's your new home.
It's your home.
Right? And so once a student moves in and they're here, they are here. And so mom and dad, you can't stay in the room. So that's just for the students to be in. But once those residents are moved in, you will be able to stay in them all the way through. Welcome week is a pretty intensive experience. We'll have class in the morning most days. Later in the week, there'll be tons of choose your own adventure opportunities. And so we really want you to spend that week immersing yourself here. The example I use a lot, it's like when you move to a new neighborhood, you always try to move in a week or two before you start work so you can learn where the grocery store is and where your classes are. That's the whole point of that welcome week, is for you to be here, to live in your space, to start to build your community, and to really figure out your way around campus. So once you guys leave at the end of move-in day, you're in. That's kind of your new home.
Yeah. Oh, getting some questions about our 2 new buildings. So yes, we do have 2 new buildings opening this fall, Azalea and Camellia Halls. And we have some questions about, are they going to be ready? Yeah, they look really, really good. They look, I'm amazed at them. I think you all are going to be shocked when you walk into them. Bill had a wonderful hand in actually designing some of the common spaces in the hallways to have a lot more lounge furniture. So you all will really get a wonderful sense of community right outside your room door. But yeah, they're rocking and rolling. We anticipate they're going to be ready. So we're excited to add them to our inventory. Let's see, what else? Are plants allowed, like small ones, like a cactus? Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Make yourself at home. Whoops. Y'all are asking so many questions. I try to click on it. Let's see, we've answered close to 300 questions so far in the Q&A. Great job, team. And we have a lot more still open. Let's see, website to rent micro fridges. I will link it on the move-in page. It's University and Student Services, but I will link that in just a moment. Make a note. Let's see. All right, team, anything else that's like pressing? Let's see. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so we have a question here about folks who are siblings moving in on 2 different days or 2 different spaces. We would definitely recommend that you at least split up your 2 different shifts. Don't schedule the same shifts. It'll be hard to get across campus. So you may want to schedule at 8 in the morning and then maybe 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You could do 2 different days if you wanted. But the other piece is absolutely, once one student's moved in, you want to bring that labor with you over to the other building and help the other student move in. It sounds like a really good use of resources. But we want you to experience that with both your Tigers. And so give yourself as much time as you want to set up the room. If it's 2 days, if you really want to give each one of those students a full day to feel kind of like they're moving in and they're good to go, that's what's going to work best for you. If you can do it in the morning and the afternoon and get kind of back home to the empty nest life that you may be excited about the next day, you can do that too. But we would recommend splitting it up so you can give everyone the same experience and really kind of spend time with them in that space, set them up, and you're not kind of running around. So just what works best for you. One of the things we really like about a weekend move-in and having this many options is we know for a lot of families it's hard to figure out how to do this best for you. Is Saturday a better travel day? Is Friday a better travel day? this breadth of options really allows you to pick the day that works best for your schedule, to have the most folks here to engage and spend time together. And so we're excited to offer this many options for you. And so we encourage you to really think about what's best for you to kind of make that trip and travel as you pick your time. Again, I know it's going to be really tempting to grab all those Saturday spots, but there's a lot of family situations where Sunday is actually a better option for you. We're going to treat you exactly the same. We're going to be just excited to see you, and your students not going to miss any of those welcome week activities. We've really partnered with our friends in enrollment management to make sure that all those activities start once all our Tigers are here. And so don't worry about it if you get a Sunday time that it'll be different or your Tiger won't get the same experience. We're going to offer the same experience all 3 days. Our staff are super excited for you to be here, and we're going to make sure that that feels the same for you on all those days. And so as you plan for yourself and multiple students or whatever it looks like, really think about what's most comfortable for you and ask your Tiger, what do they want? Do you want the full day treatment? Do you want Saturday to be one student's day and Sunday to be the others? And make the choice that's best for y'all.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Let's see how many people. I think we addressed that. We don't anticipate limiting the number of guests you have at move-in. Let's see. I have a question about no wireless printers. So yeah, you cannot connect your printer to the wireless system on campus. So you will have to connect your printer to your computer via cord. We do offer printing in our computer labs in our residence halls. So if you'd like to do that instead of bringing a printer, that's an option as well. But printers are not allowed to connect to the wireless system on campus. Also, you may not have your own personal router. Those actually interfere with everybody else's signal around you, and it is against our policies. So in trying to boost your signal, you actually cut all your neighbors off. So we want to make sure that, yeah, if you have a wireless printer, that you connect it via cord.
Man, Cooper, you've studied that floor plan. The only kitchens in Camellia and Azalea, that's awesome. I love that we've looked that closely at it. But the only kitchens and in Camellia and Azalea are down in that common area, right? So it's a good sized space. You'll find that it'll be able to accommodate folks, but there's just that one kitchen there. There are no kitchens on the individual floors.
Mm-hmm. 13th, I mean, no.
Well, to get your card coded on those individual days and check in, you'd have to have a check-in appointment, right? So when you go to your building and check in, that's when they're going to card your code as the start of your occupancy and access. So you'll need to just do the card at the check-in appointment you have scheduled.
Yeah.
Again, remember, what we really want to avoid is if you're not at the 12:30 check-in time, we don't really want you to kind of come to the building, even walking up. We really want to make sure, it can get really hectic when we start adding extra folks. And our goal is in the extending to a multiple day move-in and doing those things is the opportunity for every family to get to experience moving up to the building and getting the excitement and moving in together. We've really refined our processes inside the buildings and out to maximize time as long as folks are kind of working with us to execute inside those processes. So driving up to the building, coming early, the staffing patterns in the building are going to be designed for that number of appointments that exist at any given time at the building. So we really want you to just use that move-in time, pick that time that works for you, and plan to complete your process in that 90-minute window.
Mm-hmm. So a reminder about the housing portal. So the housing portal is where you went to submit your housing contract, where you searched for roommates, where you selected your room, and that's where you'll also go to sign up for the wait list if you have preferred buildings and room styles you'd like to try to move into over the summer. And again, that's in My LSU. So the housing portal, you go to My LSU. On the left-hand menu, you click on Student Services, and that's where on-campus housing is listed. So that's where those services are provided.
Classes start on Monday, August 23rd. And so again, that process for first year students, your experience begins though on Monday the 16th. And so move-in is really designed to get first year students here and set to go. Returning students, we know you may want time to get settled, get that apartment ready. If it's your first time living in there, have the week to run errands. If you're in a student organization and want to get rolling, there's a ton of reasons why you might want to come early. And so the apartment students, we offer you that whole week to move in. But so first year students got to be here by Monday the 16th. And returning students have to be here by Monday the 23rd in order for that first day of classes to kick in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we're getting some questions about where to find that handbook that we went through. And I will post the link in the chat, but it's on our website, lsu.edu/housing. There's a policy and procedure section, but I will go ahead and post that in the chat now so you can see that. Okay. Our team is hustling back there, answering your questions in the chat, on the comments on Facebook, and then also in the Q&A on Zoom. So if you're waiting for an answer, just sit tight. We're going to get to all of them. If not live, then we will answer them in the chat, in the Q&A, excuse me. Let's see. Bikes, can you bring a bike? Absolutely. So a lot of our students bike around campus. LSU is made as a pedestrian friendly campus. So you can walk, scooter, bike, however you'd like to. So all of our residence halls have outdoor bike storage. So you need to bring your bike and you need to provide your own lock. And then some of our facilities also have indoor bike storage. So let's see, camellia, cedar, cypress, azalea, spruce, right? Those 5 have. Gateway? Does Gateway have indoor bike storage? Yes, I think it does. Yeah. And then the Nicholson Gateway Apartments. So those will be the communities that have that indoor bike storage. So getting some questions about Azalea and Camellia Halls, the new buildings, like will you get exact measurements? Everything that we have, we're putting out there for you. But with new construction buildings, we just don't have as much access to get that kind of like detailed information as we do for our other buildings, but we'll have it after move-in. So everything that we have, we're going to put on the Azalea page for you. Let's see.
The form for Lofting is the same form you can request bed rails on. So if that's something you're interested in, that's an opportunity to do that as well. That's the same, those 2 work requests for our staff, we try to bump them together. So put those requests in there, again, by that August 6th due date.
Let's see.
So one of the questions we're getting is bathroom cleans, right? And in all of our first year buildings, we clean those bathrooms. So all of our traditional and suite style residence halls. In our suite style buildings, you'll have a cleaning schedule where a staff member will come in once a week and do really kind of it's not like a deep clean, right? So you still got to kind of maintain yourself on your own, but they'll make sure it looks good in there and that kind of you're getting those refills of toilet paper and things that you need. In our traditional style bathrooms, Hargett, Miller, Acadian, places where we have community style, those are cleaned daily by our custodial staff. And so the cleaning is taken care of in those spaces as well.
Here's a question, can you bring your own desk chair? We get this question a lot, which is various furniture. So all the furniture that we provide in the room has to stay in the room. So you're welcome to bring in furniture that you'd like to supplement, but everything that we provide has to stay in the room. And that's the same for bed rail too. If you move into a building that has bed rails installed from the get-go, those have to stay in the room. You can remove it from the bed, but it has to stay in the room. So that is the same across campus.
So I see a question about how you can sign up for Welcome Week. You'll be signed up for Welcome Week. And so again, as we get closer to fall, you're getting some communication from our friends in enrollment management about where and when you go and what that looks like. And so hang tight. But as a first year student, you are automatically signed up for Welcome Week and they'll take care of getting you the information of where to go. I see some questions about the wait list and the amount of time it will take you to get an answer. That really depends, right? So it's not, we can't really give you an answer when it's going to be. Waitlist assignments are based on other folks moving one location to the other or folks deciding not to come. And so it really just depends. We work those lists and requests one at a time. And so it could be a quick process depending on where you are and what it looks like, and it can be a longer process. Certainly if you and a roommate want to move together, that's a longer process. And so based on the type of request that you're making will really impact what that looks like for those requests to go on there. But our assignments team will work as quickly as they can to move through those. They work that list daily. We don't sort of collect it and then move it on from there. We assign as we have the opportunity to move off that wait list. And so again, if you put yourself on the wait list, just kind of be patient with them as they move through that. They'll get it to you as quick as they can.
Roommate contact information. So again, that's in your housing portal on the My Details tab with the gold bar at the top. So if you go to My LSU, click on Student Services, on campus housing, that's how you access the housing portal, and that's where you'll find your roommate and suite mate's contact information. You know, we can't give out a lot of details like cell phone numbers and things like that, but we can provide the beginning of their LSU email address. Remember, that's your pause ID. So it's the part of your email address that's before the @lsu.edu. And so you can connect with them that way. You can also connect with them through the roommate matching system in the portal. You can maybe view their profile, message them through the housing portal, and try to connect with your roommate ahead of time if you'd like to do that. Dining, yes, dining will be open on move-in. Dining plans start Saturday the 14th. So you can begin using your meal plan that day.
So a couple questions about coming back again. I know I've talked about it a couple times, but again, as long as you park out of that move-in area, if you check in on Friday and you want to then come back on Saturday, that is fine. You just won't be able to drive to the building because you won't have the ability to kind of get into that move-in area, and you'll need to walk from those other locations. The other question about how elevators will work. We do really have staff assigned to elevators to make sure we're making sure they keep flowing and stuff goes up and down. So we will absolutely, elevators be working, they'll be open and to move stuff to the buildings. Some parents find it faster to just kind of hop some stuff in their arms and go up and down those stairs in our buildings. But they'll be open for you. I will tell you, there's always a wait at the elevator though. So
Yeah.
Acknowledging that you'll have those carts and we'll kind of roll up to them, but you're gonna have to wait for that elevator because it's about 2 carts that can fit in at a time. They're decently sized carts. I know we get measurements soon, but remembering that they take up space. And so if there are things you can kind of go up and down with, being prepared to do that. Again, this is a great thing if there's siblings that want to come on move-in day, since we're anticipating no COVID restrictions. Those are great sort of young legs that can go up and down those stairs and move stuff up and down to kind of make that process go faster for you.
A question about, can parents and students adjust the height of the beds themselves, or does the staff have to do it? We ask that you let our staff do it, just for safety measures, right? We don't want you to try to loft it yourself or adjust the height yourself and not put it back together all the way and the bed breaks, or try to adjust it and the bed frame breaks. So let our team do it for you. Again, that lofting request form and bed rail request form will go live July 1, and you have all the way through August 6th to make those requests. So plenty of time, no rush to do that like really, really early, but we will have that open July 1 through August 6th. So let us do it for you.
So a question about where to make that appointment. So just to remind you again, when we're waiting for other questions to come in, you're going to get on June 28th at 1 p.m. the appointment link to make your appointment is going to go live on our website, lsu.edu/moveinday. You're also going to receive an email that will give you the link to go there. And so it will not be through My LSU. It's not a single sign-on. You'll be able to just kind of hop right to that link, click it, and make your appointment. But it'll go live on that website at 1 o'clock, and it will also be sent to you via email.
Apartments. Oops. Well, apartment students, yeah. So after the
so if you move in after the 15th for apartment students, we'll do our best to keep those loading areas open. As a note, once we get to Monday, campus is back to normal operations. And so one of the reasons we move in on the weekend is it allows us to use those parking and transportation staff to block off those unloading areas. We will keep them set up, but again, it's only as kind as we are to each other. So if folks don't park in them, they'll still be available for you to pull up and unload, but it won't be as managed as it is on that Saturday and Sunday because we're not doing the volume of move-ins, but we will leave those barricades up for you as an option to pull up curbside and unload, but all of our apartment parking lots will also be open at that point. You kind of pull up and find a spot and move in at your own pace.
Let's see. Okay. Let's see. Okay, can we bring our own mattress? Again, everything we provide has to stay in the room. So if you bring your own mattress, you can put it on top of the mattress that's there, or put the mattress we provide in under the bed or something. But again, all the furniture and things we provide have to stay in the room. So email addresses, we send emails to your @lsu.edu email address. So make sure that you have access to that and are checking it. A lot of students have it forwarded to personal accounts right now. So make sure that you are checking that, because that's where we'll send all of our communications to. Okay, laundry. Yeah, so all of our facilities have laundry. Our residence halls have laundry rooms where it's $1.25 to wash a load and $1.25 to dry a load. And you can bring, detergent for that. I don't think they accept pods, do they? Tide pods. You shouldn't use like the Tide pods. So don't pack those when you move in. The liquid or the powder detergent will work best in the laundry rooms in the residence halls. On-campus apartments, so East Campus apartments, West Campus apartments, and Nicholson Gateway apartments, you have washers and dryers in your apartment that are yours to use. There's no coin slot attached to it. But again, make sure you have that liquid or powder detergent for your laundry. So that is everything you need to know about laundry. Let's see.
Great question. If you don't have a roommate yet, we're still actively making assignments. And so again, as Catherine said, we'll be still doing room assignments through that date of the 28th. And so if students, it's likely that once we then start working the waitlist, somebody will be a new roommate. So really remember that roommate piece is sort of likely to change all the way up through move-in day. And so paying attention to that as you kind of go through the process and kind of keep refreshing that portal and going back to check. Because as new students apply or finish their applications, we'll start assigning those students as well as we get closer and closer to move-in day.
Yeah. Let's see. I see a couple of folks asking about the micro fridge rental link. So I'll go ahead and drop that in the chat. I haven't been able to add it to the website just yet, but I'll drop it in the chat so you can have it there. So I just added that to the chat for you guys. All right. Okay, let's see, parking tags.
Yeah, so you want to pay attention to your LSU email for instructions on how to sign up for your parking tag. It's an automated online system, and your tagger to that same lsu.edu email address Catherine mentioned earlier is going to get instructions on how to go in and mark that parking tag. And so it'll come out a little bit closer to the beginning of July. Sort of think about 4th of July after period as they'll start sending that information. It's really important for kind of all these processes. I saw a question about meal plans as well. You're going to be communicated with the lsu.edu email address. So you'll want to make sure your tagger's keeping an eye on it, but we'll send you instructions there on how to select your meal plan. I saw a question of, is one assigned to you? There's a minimum amount, but a lot of our taggers like higher levels of meal plans. And so check out that website. You go to it's just LSU dining website. It'll kind of give you some instructions on how to select your meal plan and what that looks like to make those choices that are right for your tagger.
Where is staging area?
Yeah, so the staging area is located on River Road. If you're familiar with the LSU softball complex, it's right next to that. And so on move-in day, that's where you're going to start. You're going to head right over there. You're going to come to that parking lot, and we're going to throw a big old party to welcome you to campus. And so you'll come there, you'll see our volunteers, and then we'll direct you to your hall from there. But here's the map there. You see that's the river right there on the left next to the levee. And this yellow area on the bottom of the map right there is where you're going to pull in to start your move-in process.
So this is actually where you enter. Whoopsie daisy, don't go to the river. Excuse me. But the campus map will have all these different sections you want to come and see, like, okay, where is move-in day HQ? Well, there it is. If I arrive too early, where are y'all gonna send me? I'm gonna send you right here. Where are the welcome tents? That's where you will drive up. Again, if you have a large truck, oversized vehicle, go to the right-hand lane, the far right-hand lane. If you have a tiny compact car, it's great if you go to the far left-hand lane because you'll have the tightest turn to make in those areas. But again, this campus map will be really helpful for you to show your routes to the building. If you want to see, like, okay, I'm living in Spruce, how do I get there? And we'll map it out for you. So if you want to go ahead and prepare for that. But again, you do have to go to the staging area first to get your building access hang tags. Oops. Okay.
Yeah, electric scooters would not be allowed in the
I
room,
don't think so.
right? So again, things with big batteries like that, or sort of those rechargeable things, we ask you to kind of keep out. They would be allowed in our bike storage rooms, right? So you can use one of those bike spaces to place them. But even bikes, which are not mechanical, they take up a lot of space. And so when we think about you're in a shared space with another person, we really encourage you to think about those big things. Bring a lock, like open that bike storage room the same way you would one of our bikes.
Mm-hmm.
So I've seen a couple questions about COVID phases and where we're at, right? But this is in the handbook, right? So remember, the handbook you're currently looking at is last year's Living on Campus handbook. We published that handbook around July 1st. We look at our policies and update them year to year. One of the things we're currently waiting on is LSU's guidance for COVID related to fall. And so there's a plan of folks at the university who are making decisions what's going to happen, and we'll plan our phases and responsibilities in relation to that. So right now, we ended the year in a relatively normal phase of guests allowed in the building and only a mask requirement. At that point, that's where campus is also currently at, but we'll be responsive to different directives and movements along from the LSU administration. Mm-hmm. And so keep an eye on that website. It's lsu.edu/COVID, COVID-19, and that will be what you'll see what the university is doing. It's the most up-to-date information on COVID. We'll take our lead from that page. And so if you go there and kind of keep an eye on there, we'll provide guidance closer to move in of where we're exactly at and what that target looks like then.
Yeah. Getting questions about mail after move-in. So all students living on campus have a LSU mailbox at the UPS store located in the student union. So that mailbox fee is tacked onto your rent, on your fee bill, and so you have an LSU mailbox. You will get instructions on how to set up that mailbox and how to receive packages at that mailbox. Closer to the fall semester. But yes, parents are asking, okay, after we move in, can we ship items once they have that LSU mailbox set up? Absolutely. So if you want to wait until you have that mailbox set up, you can ship things later for sure.
One of our most common questions ever is, do you move all the way out December as that year ending the spring semester? You're in an annual year agreement with us, and so you get to hang out with us all the way till May. We're really excited to help you with that experience all year long. In December, the halls do close. So if you live in one of our residence halls, you're going to need to take what you need. Medications, clothing, those things that you need, a suitcase to go home kind of thing. But furniture and fridges and all that kind of stuff will stay right where it's at till you're back in January. We won't do the same process again in January. So you just take what you need at breaks. And then in May will be the first time you got to come back and kind of move it all back out.
Mm-hmm.
I see this question here about the Tiger card, right? So for your student, when they check into their room, that Tiger card becomes active, right? So all you have to do is go through the normal process, kind of move through the move-in day. When your Tiger goes into that check-in area, we're going to take care of getting that Tiger card activated for them. And that's true for both our halls and our apartments. There's a process they're going to do electronically in the computer where they're going to manually check your student in and say, they are here. And then that Tiger card will go active from there. If you have issues on move-in day, our staff are there and ready to help you with any of those issues, moving through that process and kind of getting it taken care of.
Let's see, if we bring our bikes, can we lock, we'll be able to lock them immediately on a rack? Yeah, absolutely. If whenever you move in and whenever you bring your bike, the bike racks are open and ready for you to hook your bike up to them. So yeah.
That's a great question about both vehicles being sent to the building together. That was what we will try our best to do, right? So when you're in that parking lot, our volunteers will communicate with you like, hey, we have 2 cars, and if you really want to stay together, we'll work with you to do that, right? And so for a majority of the time, we don't send cars one at a time. That's another thing for you to know as you're sitting in that staging area. We're not going to just kind of send 1 car at a time. We're going to wait till there's 3 or 4 spots in front of the building and move cars together. We know a lot of you have multiple 2 cars with you, mom and dad in one, Tiger in the other, with stuff between them. So we do our best to keep you together. If you get separated though, there's times where it will happen, you're gonna go to the same staging area. All of our locations on the unloading spaces are directly in front of the building. So it's totally fine for mom and dad to go ahead, get 1 car unloaded, put that stuff on the sidewalk, and when the Tiger gets there, they can go ahead and check in. You could do it the other way. If you're able to kind of organize yourself getting into that lot, let the Tiger go first. Let them get in line first. and then they can go, and by the time you get there, that check-in process is completed. But again, we were able to do this last year really well in COVID, and we learned a lot. This process, it's not immediate, but it's faster than you think it's going to be.
Yeah.
So just kind of trust us as we go through it. We know you want to be together and experience those things together, and our volunteers are going to do the best they can to make that happen for you.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, anything? Okay. Wow. Behind the scenes team, y'all are doing a great job. Close to 500 questions answered behind the scenes. And we have just a handful left that have not been answered either live or chatted back to you.
I see this question about the UPS store shipping on campus, right?
Yeah.
You'll want to do that before you come to the staging area, right? So the front of the union has parking in front of it. You'll want to hop over there, grab your items, and make your appointment accordingly. So that's a really great thing to think about as you're picking your appointment time. Again, I've said it a couple times, that 8 o'clock Saturday slot looks really attractive. But if you need to pick something at the UPS store, that 12:30 or 2 o'clock slot is going to be better for you because it'll allow you some time to get over there, to not be flustered and running around, grab those stuff and come to the staging lot. And so as you're thinking about, you've got from now till the 28th to figure out where you might want to look for your time slot. Think about what you need to do in the morning. If you want to go get groceries before and go to Target, so you can come to campus and just be here for the day, those later slots are going to be better for you. And so again, you know, if you're someone who's going to be ready at 8 and you have nothing to pick up, that's a good time to choose those first thing in the morning slots. If you're someone who's got a couple things to do around town and doesn't want to be flustered, those afternoon slots are going to be better for you. So really look at what you need to do but again, with that car, once it leaves the front of that building, that hang tag, we're going to take that hang tag and you're not going to be able to get back in. And so it's really important to plan accordingly as you get ready to come to the building.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Almost done.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right.
I'm just scrolling.
That's a great question. You know, I think you're going to have lots of fun. I think if you went through the process last year, we're really doing some things this year to increase the fun in the lot. I think you're going to find our in-hall staff, our RAs and our residence coordinators and graduate coordinators are super excited to see you. We'll do our best to throw some treats and kind of prizes your way as well. But I think your fun is when you get to leave, right? And you get to go home and have dinner or a cocktail dinner of a really long day. But we promise you that we'll do our best to make sure that you have a good time while you're moving in. It's a hot day. It's August in Louisiana, right? So it's going to be hot. It's going to feel stressful, but we're doing everything we can to lower that for you. And so again, I think we just, you know, we'll make sure that you have a good time while you're here as well.
Yeah. Question about borrowing like vacuums or pots from the community to use. So in the past, we have had activity cards that again support the residence hall, support the community councils in the building, which is kind of like a council part of a student government, like part of RHA. And so when you purchase an activity card at check-in, you're able to show that to the front desk and utilize the things that are available to check out, whether it's vacuums or pots and pans, games, different things like that. We did not do that last year because of COVID restriction, but we anticipate that will be an option again this year. So before you go and buy a vacuum or things like that, you know, you might want to check with your in-hall professional staff to see what's available.
So I see a question come up a couple times, and if you're checking in on Sunday, can you still eat in the dining hall on Saturday? Absolutely. Your Tigers meal plan will start on Saturday. You'll be able to come in. Again, we'll ask you to park on the outside the campus and walk your way in, right? And so you are absolutely welcome, though. We're happy to come to our campus, parking in some of our outer lots or sort of our visitor center lot and walk over to those dining halls. Again, both of our dining halls are located right there next to residence halls. And so you won't be able to drive up to them. So as long as you're okay for a little August walk, you're more than welcome to join us at the dining hall for meals. We'd be happy to have you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let's see. If you don't request your beds to be lofted, how are they set up? It depends on the building you're in. Mallory, correct me if I'm wrong. Most of the loft beds are they the highest one, or they
move in?
Yeah, they move in.
They're going to be about middle point.
Middle point. Okay. So when you move into a room that has the loftable style bed, like the one back here, they'll be kind of in that middle section. So if that's okay with you, then you don't have to request any changes.
So I saw a question in there about once your tiger gets here, what's it going to look like and connecting with other folks on campus, right? That's the whole point of Welcome Week, right? So again, this is the beginning of that experience. Move-in day is going to be there. The resident assistants are going to get folks connected. They're going to meet your tiger. But then when you get to that beginning of the Welcome Week experience, your student will be in small groups. They'll be connected with folks who share their major or different kind of things. And then I promise you, I know the schedule's coming out soon. There is a ton of stuff happening that week for your tiger to get connected. And part of our RA's job is to bring them to those events. So another reason we really condense first year moving down is once we get past that Sunday night, an RA's whole job is to just take people to get connected on campus. That's their primary role, is to connect your students. Your students will also have a floor meeting on Sunday night, right before the RHA block party, as a chance to meet those people that live right around them. And so we can get your tiger to Sunday night, let the RAs, and for those of you who don't know, resident assistants are student leaders who've lived with us before, who have literally chosen a job that just let them connect your tigers to other folks. So, get it through move-in day, get your tiger settled in, make that room feel comfortable, and then we will take it from there, getting them connected to other folks on campus.
Yeah. Let's see, we're getting some questions about how do you know which bed is yours? Like if the bed is labeled, 1 or 2 in the housing portal, how do you know which side is yours? It doesn't, the 1s and 2s don't relate to the beds in the rooms. So when you arrive, you and your roommate can just decide which bed is which. If you have, 212C, or no, you wouldn't have, that's a bad example, because you would have that in the apartments. But it doesn't, the numbers on the beds don't correlate to anything as far as you have to be in this bed if you selected this one.
That's a great pre-conversation to have with your roommate, right? What side do you want the bed on? What's our layout look like? It's a great thing to do on a Zoom call and use the whiteboard, maybe kind of draw what you want your kids to look like. And then whoever gets there first can kind of do it. It looks like
Whoa.
we have made it to the end.
Whoa, we've answered all the
And
questions.
answered today.
Great job. Oh, no, Brandon. Oh, y'all are doing,
Brandon.
oh, Brandon, thank you. Aw, we love it. But y'all are doing awesome as a possum. Well, Brandon, would you like a job as a tour guide?
Well, as a way to kind of wrap up again, just some quick points. You're going to go to the staging lots to start your day. We're going to get you to that building. We're going to ask you to get checked in over that 90-minute window. We'll have dollies and carts available for you at the building to get yourself unloaded. We'll get you in that room as quick as we can. We'll check you in, and then a whole lot of fun will start. I said it a little bit earlier, but move-in day is our absolute favorite day of the year.
Best.
We are so excited for you to join us. If you want to go back and watch, I think we answered all your questions in the course of this hour and a half together. But otherwise, our staff's happy to help you as we move closer to moving if we didn't get to it. But we're super excited for you all to get here.
Moving forward, the best way to reach us will be housing@lsu.edu. We have a wonderful team that manages our email account to get you questions as fast as possible all summer. So again, that's housing@lsu.edu. And also the Move-In Day webpage will be jam-packed with information. So lsu.edu/move-in-day. And those are going to be the best places to reach us. So I think we're at a close now. But again, if you have any other follow-up questions, just shoot us an email. We'll be happy to help.
Go Tigers.
Go Tigers.